Patrick Star stood in front of the mirror, trying to give his reflection a French kiss. But his tongue got stuck to the icy surface, completely frozen in place. Luckily, SpongeBob brought over a cup of hot cocoa and poured it onto his tongue, freeing him. They had no idea that this small act had accidentally released a long-sealed primitive sponge. When SpongeBob left, the primitive sponge secretly slipped into his backpack. SpongeBob first dropped Patrick off at home, but the primitive sponge quietly followed him back to his own house. After taking a shower, SpongeBob looked in the mirror, feeling more mature than before, and even sighed, "That nature hike really made my tongue grow hair." Then he headed to the automatic dressing room, put on his work uniform, and got ready for his shift. Meanwhile, the primitive sponge also put on a uniform, but on him it looked completely different, with feet so big they burst right through the shoes. He followed SpongeBob all the way to the Krusty Krab.
Good morning, Squidward!
It was.
While SpongeBob was busy working, Mr. Krabs suddenly called for him. As he climbed out the window, he froze in shock. A group of Bikini Bottom residents, escorted by police officers, had come to report that he'd smashed a mailbox. SpongeBob insisted he was innocent, but more and more victims stepped forward to accuse him. In the end, the police had no choice but to take him away. In the kitchen, Squidward was temporarily filling in when the primitive sponge appeared. Thinking SpongeBob had already returned, he immediately handed over the job. The primitive sponge wasted no time, he turned a spatula into a weapon, used ketchup as armor, and hid behind a trash can to ambush incoming vehicles. He popped open a hood, drank all the engine oil, and tossed the engine onto a frying pan to cook. Every move was swift and smooth. When he finally made a delicious Krabby Patty and was about to take a bite, Squidward snatched it away and served it to a customer. The customer nearly choked to death on the spot. The furious residents threw Squidward back into the kitchen. Seeing the primitive sponge munching on a shish kebab, Squidward started yelling at him without hesitation. But that only enraged the primitive sponge. SpongeBob was already running for his life, as the primitive sponge rampaged through Bikini Bottom, leaving chaos in his wake. And Mr. Krabs? All he cared about was getting SpongeBob to confess so he could get back to work. Other than that guy, nobody else looks exactly like you.